HOTEP, and also on 910 AM Superstation WFDF's YouTube, Facebook page also. All right, so I saw this story a few days ago from thegrio.com. Black graduates' household incomes have grown more slowly than those of college graduates in general. Black college graduates' household incomes have grown more slowly than those of college graduates in general. On average, African-American college graduates owe more in student loan debt compared to white graduates. And this is something that contributes to the racial wealth gap. And this is one of the reasons why there are growing cries for student loan relief, student loan debt relief and discharging student loan debt. All right, we're going to talk about that story today. And then also, there was a story that we talked about briefly yesterday. It deals with Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock. Proud Boy supporter pleads guilty to threatening Democratic Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock. Dead men can't pass laws. This was a threat that he received. This was a threat issued actually on early in the hours on January 6th, 2021. So we know that the special election was the day before, January 5th, the special election in Georgia. This is Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia. Okay, we'll talk about that as well. And then also, many people have probably heard that longtime political consultant and local TV show host and internet radio show host Steve Hood passed away today at age 58. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. I had known he was in the hospital for, I think, about 3 weeks now. I hadn't said anything to anybody about it. But yeah, that was a big loss today. Many people know that Steve was a friend of mine, and that's how I started out on 9:10 a.m. On Steve's morning show. So that was a big loss. Last time I saw him was March of this year. We met because he interviewed me for his TV show, Detroit Wants to Know. And that show aired, I think it was in April. I think it was March that we met, and it aired in April. And I know he had lost a lot of weight. I know he was working out. He said he was working out, but he passed away of cancer, age 58. So that's a big loss. Deadline Detroit.com has an article about it. Also, Fox 2 has an article about it. Fox 2 News, they have an article about it as well. Fox 2 Detroit. Detroit talk show host, political consultant Steve Hood dies at 58 after battling pancreatic cancer. From what I heard, he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he really didn't want people to know that he was sick. So, that's a big loss. He was young. He's 8 years older than me, but that's a huge loss there. All right, so we'll talk about those two stories on today's show, and then we'll talk a little bit about the 38th annual African World Festival that is coming up this weekend as well. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here On the African History Network show, we deal with current events and history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter, also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can sign up for the email newsletter there as well. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show, through Cash App, $ the AHN Show, through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me / the AHN Show, paypal.me / the AHN Show. We're here 6 days a week to help doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting. Then also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button there. All right. I want to jump into this first story here. And this is from thegrio.com. Okay. And, you know, this ties into Black Women's Equal Pay Day, which was earlier this month. Black Women's Equal Pay Day was on Tuesday, August 3rd. Okay. Tuesday, August 3rd was Black Women's Equal Pay Day. And that is the day that African-American women have to work until to make the same amount of money that the average white male made the year before. Okay. So if we look at this article here, coming up here on the break, and let's see, let's go to this here. Let's pull this one up. This is from thegrio.com. I saw this article a few days ago. Let me see here. Okay. Let's pull this up. All right. Black graduates' household incomes have grown more slowly than those of college graduates in general. And I saw this article back on August 14th. Let's pull this up here. All right. On average, Black college grads owe more in student loan debt compared to white graduates. Now, college has always been positioned as an opportunity to even the playing field for young adults, and especially for African-American students who face a litany of obstacles when trying to advance in their careers. And, you know, you're dealing with racism. Sometimes you could be dealing with generational issues on the job also. And this is another obstacle. And, you know, this is also one of the reasons why, especially African-American women, but tend to marry later in life. But also many times African-American men tend to marry later in life because they're trying to get establish a financial basis, because we're starting we're starting off oftentimes at a deficit. We're starting oftentimes in a position that's not a strong position financially. So here, let me close out some of these here. Just a second here. Let me go back to this article. We got a bunch of tabs open. All right. Now, an analysis by the Wall Street Journal found that the median income of African-American graduates in their 30s plummeted over the past decade. Okay. So this was analysis from the Wall Street Journal. And they found that the median income of African-American college graduates in their 30s plummeted over the past 3 decades to less than 1/10 the net worth of their white counterparts, less than 1/10 of the net worth of their white counterparts. Now, the median is a statistical measure where 50% of the population is below a certain point and 50% of the population is above a certain point. It gives a more accurate measurement than the average, because the average can be skewed by if you have incomes or populations, what have you, if you have statistics, what have you, that are far above average. Okay, it can skew it to the left and give you an inaccurate representation of really what's going on. So the median oftentimes can be a better measurement. So the median is the point where 50% of the population you're looking at is below that point and 50% is above that point. Now, a combination of both student loan debt and the economic crisis has created a tight hold on African-American college-educated millennials. More than 84% of their households have student debt. More than 84% of their households have student debt, have stopped home buying, and don't have the ability to save. Okay, so if we look at millennials, now millennials are basically, that contrary to popular belief. I remember I was at a meeting of Grits and Politics, and this was at Greater Emmanuel Church. And they were talking about millennials, and I said, so I was probably one of the youngest people there. I think I was maybe 49 at the time or 48. I was probably one of the youngest people there. I said, a millennial is not somebody who is younger than you. That's not a millennial. Millennials are basically people born between, some sources say 1981 and 1996. Other sources may say 1980 to 1996. But those are basically millennials, okay? And it is millennials and Generation Z and Generation X, these are all basically demarcations or all categories created by advertisers, created by marketers to segment populations, okay, based upon generations. So more than 84% of African-American millennial households have student loan debt and have stopped home buying, and don't have the ability to save. So this is a recipe for disaster. And it really slows down their ability to create generational wealth. All right. We'll deal with this on the other side of the break. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the Future of Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Black on Purpose Television Network. Yes, Black on Purpose Television Network. All black, all positive, all the time. The largest black-owned streaming television network in the world. Bringing our people together worldwide. Controlling our messages, our stories, our way. Black TV the way it should be. Black music, Black history, and more. 30 plus channels, thousands of shows. Black on Purpose Television Network. Subscribe now.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
Put us in this predicament. It's going to be laws and policies that take us out. So you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts. You control the compass of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know.
We have it all on 910 AM Superstation. 910, the Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Thursday, August 19th, 2021, and we are live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. It's the calling number 313-778-7600. It's the calling number if you have a question or comment. We'll talk some about the 38th Annual African World Festival taking place at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, Friday, August 20th through Sunday, August 22nd. Visit theright.org, theright.org, WRIGHT, theright.org. They have the information right on the homepage of the website. And you can, when you go to the website, click on Explore Our Incredible Offerings. It takes you to the next page, and they have information about the festival, and they have a schedule that you can download. Okay. Download full schedule. Click right here. Download the AWF African World Festival 2021 map, and you can download the schedule. They have a full schedule all 3 days. The festival starts on Friday, August 20th. Opening ceremonies are 4 p.m. Okay, 4 p.m. And R&B recording artist Sunshine Anderson is performing 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on the main stage. The main stage is behind the museum. And on the side street is Brush Street. Now keep walking down Brush Street to Brush and Kirby, and you're going to be at Peck Park, and you'll see my vendor booth. Okay, because I just went and bought the tent today. All right, so you're gonna see my vendor booth for the African History Network. We're right there on the corner of Brush and Kirby. All right, and I'll be there all 3 days. So, and I'll be broadcasting from there on Facebook and everything. So you get to check that out as well. The African World Festival. You can come down and we'll have my DVD lectures. We'll be registering people for the 2 online courses I teach, and you can talk to me. Now, normally the museum is open during the African World Festival, but because of COVID, the museum is going to be closed. Usually it's open and you can go in for tours, and usually I do lectures inside of the museum or workshops during the festival, but it's going to be closed. So I'll do all that at my vendor booth. All right. And the festival is free and open to the public. There's about 150 vendors. Wear masks, even though it's outdoors. Still want people to wear masks and be safe. All right. Okay. We'll go back to this topic here in just a second. So somebody asked, what do you think about the Senate caving on qualified immunity? I think you missed our show yesterday because I dealt with that yesterday. As I said back in May of 2021, if you can't come to an agreement on qualified immunity in the Senate, take it out of the bill and get the rest of the bill passed, because qualified immunity is not the most important thing in HR 1280, which is the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Okay, watch the show from yesterday because I went through that, and we went through and I showed you actually what's in the bill. I said back in May, if you can't come to an agreement, Representative James Clyburn said the same thing. People want to jump on him because I said, look, because it was police unions putting pressure on Republicans in the Senate not to remove qualified, not to rescind qualified immunity. So I knew they weren't going to come to agreement on that. You need 10 Republicans to vote on the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act for it to pass. If all 50 Democrats support it, you need 60 votes to pass the bill. I said this on Roland Martin's show. I said you need to take that out the bill if you can't get it passed, get the rest of that stuff passed in the bill, because that is not the most important thing in the bill. The most important thing in the bill is lowering the federal standard to prosecute police officers from willful intent down to negligence. Because if you can lower the federal standard, you can prosecute more officers and get more officers convicted, and those are felony convictions. They're going to prison. Qualified immunity is a civil lawsuit. That's not criminal. That's suing them in civil court, not criminal court. They're not going to prison over that. When you start locking their asses up and putting them in prison, that's a bigger deterrent than a civil lawsuit. So I said back in May, take that out of there. If you can't come to an agreement on that, take it out and get that bill passed. Now, the earliest you can get the George Floyd Justice and Policing bill passed is September 13th, because the U.S. Senate is on recess until September 13th. And when they come back, Chuck Schumer, Senate Majority Leader, already said the first thing they're going to take up is the voting rights bill. So they probably won't get to that on September 13th. It's going to be after September 13th. I said back in May, take that out and pass this and get it passed. But that's not what happened. So, all right, they're going to learn. All right, let's go back to this piece here. And you can go to judiciary.house.gov or just go to house.gov and search for HR 1280, 117th Congress. You can look at the fact sheet. We went through the fact sheet of what's in the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Now, we went through that back in May also, by the way. If you watch this show, we went through it, what's in the bill back in May, but I went through it again yesterday. So go back and watch yesterday's show. It's archived here on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. All right, let's go back to this. And I remember all the activists and Tamika Mallory and all this. They were saying they were jumping on Clyburn, talking about Clyburn didn't know what he's talking about. Why are you gonna do this? Clyburn know what the hell he's doing. Clyburn knows what the hell he's doing. I told you then. Clyburn is correct. Clyburn knows how those white people are. Clyburn knows more about those Republicans than any of these activists out here. You know, activists get a lot of respect needs to go to the activists. They don't have to deal with these Republicans like Clyburn has to deal with them. Even though Clyburn's in the House, he know those people in the Senate. He knows what they're gonna vote for and what they're not gonna vote for. Clyburn's from South Carolina. South Carolina is where the Civil War started. South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union December 20th, 1860. Not only that, Clyburn is a former history teacher. Clyburn knows history. He knows what he's dealing with in the House and the Senate. So he was correct. And I said the same thing. I said it on this show and I said it on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Okay. So let's go back to this here. See, I'm a practical person. I'm a practical person. Okay. To hell with all that theory. Tell me how to get from point A to point B. I'm a very practical person. I've been involved in writing public policy here for the city of Detroit. I managed, African-American companies where we had government contracts. All that theory and pie in the sky, I don't care about that. I'm focused on the process. How do we bring this into fruition? What is the process? How we go from point A to point B? Because in business school, that's what you learn. You learn, okay, in business school, you learn how to solve problems. If anybody's ever been to business school, if you ever taken entrepreneurship classes, you're taught how to solve problems. Okay, so that's the perspective I come from. All that damn theory and all that damn march and all that stuff. Mass protest has its purpose, but oftentimes we confuse activity with productivity. Show me how to get from point A to B. How do we solve this problem? How do we get the bill passed? How do we bring this into fruition? Okay, you need 10 Republicans to vote for any of these bills, unless it can pass through the budget reconciliation process in the Senate. In the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act don't qualify for that. So you need 10 Republicans to vote for the bill. Now you can pontificate all you want to. If you can't get 10 Republicans to vote for the bill, it's not going to pass. Not in the 117th Congress. Now, if you get more Democrats elected in the Senate in the 2022 midterm election, and if you get, say you get like 54, 55 Democrats, and you get 51 to break the filibuster and change the filibuster rules, then you can run it through. That ain't the case right now. You don't have 50, you don't have 50 Democrats to change the filibuster rules because Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema don't want to change them. So you need 10 Republicans to get it passed. You can't get 10 Republicans to agree to the bill. It's not going to happen. That's just all there is to it. All right. So more than 84% of their households have student debt, have stopped home buying, and don't have the ability to save. Now, there's a tweet here from Philip Lewis. The median net worth of Black households with college graduates in their 30s has fallen to $8,200, about $50,400 3 decades ago. Has fallen to $8,200 from about $50,400 3 decades ago, a Wall Street Journal analysis found. Okay, the median net worth for African-American households with college graduates in their 30s, so they're still paying off student loan debt. okay, but many of them most likely in their 30s is $8,200. It's fallen to $8,200. 3 decades ago, it was about $50,400. So that makes it very hard to accumulate wealth and create generational wealth. Okay, that makes it very hard to do that. All right, just a second. We lost our connection here to 9:10 a.m. Superstation. Just a second. Let me reconnect this call. All right, so sorry about that. Sorry about that. We dropped a call there. The Skype call dropped. Okay, so the median net worth for African American households with college graduates in their 30s has fallen from $8,200. Has fallen to $8,200 from about $50,400 where it was 3 decades ago. A Wall Street Journal analysis found over the same period, their white peers saw their median net worth grow 17% to $138,000. All right. So this is more reason. It makes the argument for things like canceling student loan debt. Okay. Over the same period of time, that 30-year period of time, their white peers saw their median net worth grow 17% to $138,000. All right. And we're talking about white college graduates in their 30s. Now, the Wall Street Journal reported that the drop is driven by skyrocketing student debt and sluggish income growth. Skyrocketing student debt and sluggish income growth. Now the generation that hoped to close the racial wealth gap is finding it is only growing wider. The report also found African American wealth has not grown in the past 30 years. Student loan debt has always had an impact on the African American community. Okay. Now, according to a 2016 report from the Brookings Institute, African American college graduates with bachelor's degrees owe an average of $7,400 more than white college graduates with bachelor's degrees. Okay, African American college graduates with bachelor's degrees owe an average of $7,400 more than white graduates. $23,400 African American graduates with bachelor's degrees versus $17,000. However, due to interest accrual and post-bachelor degrees, the number increases to African American graduates owing more than $53,000 in student loan debt 4 years after their bachelor's. At 4 years after they get their bachelor's degree, twice as much as white graduates. So because of interest accrual and getting post-bachelor degrees, African American graduates end up owing more than $53,000 in student loan debt 4 years after they get their bachelor's degree, which ends up being twice as much as the average white graduate owes 4 years after they get their bachelor's degree. So this slows down the accumulation of generational wealth and being able to buy property, have money to start businesses, etc. Now, to compare, 35% of African American baby boomers, 35% of African American baby boomers had college loan debt at a median of $6,000. Today's younger African American college graduates owe a median of $44,000, which is more than 7 times the debt from their parents' generation. Okay, so this is why so many people are calling on the Biden administration to cancel student debt, whether you do it through executive order or whether you do it through Congress. Either way. The net worth of African American households in their 30s has also fallen to $8,300 from $50,400 3 decades ago. Okay, the net worth of African American households in their 30s has fallen to $8,300 when 3 decades ago was $50,400. Now, Fanaba Ado, a professor of public policy at UNC Chapel Hill, who studies debt and racial wealth inequality, said in a 2020 interview with MarketWatch.com, the business publication, MarketWatch, he said, even at the upper end of the Black wealth distribution, average and median wealth are significantly lower than that of white houses at the top of the wealth distribution. Okay, even at the upper end of the Black wealth distribution, average and median wealth are significantly lower than that of white households at the top of the wealth distribution. This manifests in differences in financial assets, home equity, and access to resources that could potentially help their children to pay for college. As college costs have risen, the increasing burden of college costs has shifted from federal and state aid to students and families. As the cost of college increases each year, the increasing burden of college costs has shifted from federal and state aid being able to absorb that rising cost of college to students and families having to absorb those costs. Now, people with more resources are able to contribute more. So this is largely going to be white households, generally speaking. As documented in her book, The Whiteness of Wealth, tax law professor Dorothy Brown further explains that even with scholarships and parental support, the hardship for African American students to pay for their degree in higher learning comes from the systematic issues that are present in all structures in America. So she said that college does not pay off for African American students the way it does for white students. At virtually every step, from taking out student loans to facing a racist job market to dealing with repayment plans, African American students and their families have disadvantages. As a result, the Black-white wealth gap widens. Now, you couple that with, as we talked about on this show back August 3rd, with Black Women's Equal Pay Day, and we look at the article here from NBCnews.com. We'll try to pull this one up. Black Women's Equal Pay Day. Black women worked 579 days to earn what white men do in 365 days. Let's see if we can pull this up here. This is from NBC News. So the average African American woman makes 63 cents on the dollar that the average white male makes. You look at this one here. Okay, so things like this contribute to that racial wealth gap, and it compounds this issue when we deal with student loan debt. Read this article. We talked about this back on August 3rd. Because August 3rd was Black Women's Equal Pay Day. It takes the average African American woman 20 months to make the same amount of money that the average white male made in 12 months. Read this article from NBC News. Black Women's Equal Pay Day. Black women worked 579 days to earn what white men do in 365. Okay. Across industries, black women are paid only 63 cents for every dollar made by white men, according to the National Women's Law Center. All right, so read the rest of this. We talked about this back on August 3rd. Okay, now let's go back to the piece here from the Griot. Let's look at this one here. All right, so the Wall Street Journal report exemplifies how individual financial habits and behaviors are not enough to solve the issues for African Americans, but actual structural change is needed in order for African American students to get financial success. So you hear a lot of these black conservatives, many of them scared of their own shadows. Larry Elder and Candace Owens, and and when they talk about personal responsibility, when they talk about the wealth gap, they talk about personal responsibility, and they say, okay, don't have children out of wedlock, get married, buy a home, different things like this. They don't want to deal with white supremacy and racism. They don't want to deal with how racism is a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon race, coming out of the ideology of European white supremacy and racism. Larry Elder, who's the front runner for Republicans in the election to recall Governor Gavin Newsom in California, Larry Elder is basically saying the wage gap between women and men that's fictitious. That's basically what he's saying. They see, when you listen to these black conservatives, they don't want to deal with structural inequities, generally speaking. They want to deal with individual choices. They don't want to deal with changing laws and policies and correcting the structural inequities that deal with systemic racism. Because their whole thing, what many of them are get paid by white people to lie to us and tell us, is that racism doesn't exist. Because they want to keep the status quo the way it is, because they benefit from it. The white people that pay them benefit from keeping the status quo, keeping things the way they are. So they want to make the issue personal choices, personal issues. They don't want to deal with a system of white supremacy and racism. So what you have is white supremacy through ventriloquism. You have the words of white people coming from the mouths of Negroes. You have white supremacy through ventriloquism, as Dr. Michael Eric Dyson calls it. So the Wall Street Journal report exemplifies how individual financial habits and behaviors are not enough to solve the issues for African Americans, but actual structural changes needed in order for African American students to get financial success. Okay, let's scroll down here. Okay. All right, so activists and representatives of the government have put pressure on the Biden administration to provide widespread relief bills to lessen the burden of student loans. In February 2021, members of Congress, including Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and Senator Elizabeth Warren, reintroduced a resolution to cancel $50,000 in student loan debt. In late June 2021, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer renewed his pleas to President Biden to cancel the $50,000 in student loan debt. However, Speaker Nancy Pelosi has stated that Biden does not have the legal authority to cancel student loan debt. Now, Biden back in April, I read a piece from NBC News. Biden put his chief of staff, Ron Klain, in charge of investigating if Biden has the authority through executive order to cancel $50,000 in student loan debt per person, because Biden said he didn't think he had that authority. And see, what I think some people may not realize is that executive orders can be challenged in court. Okay, executive orders can be challenged and overturned in court. All right. Executive orders can be challenged. Executive orders from the president can be challenged in court, and they can be overturned. They can be struck down in court. So Biden wants to make sure he's on solid legal footing to be able to do that. What they have been doing is they've been discharging student loan debt for students who have been victims of predatory colleges, because predatory colleges have many of them have over the past few years, they've been disproportionately targeting African American and Latino students, getting them to take out exorbitant student loans, and then not placing them in careers or jobs that have anything to do with the degree they got or the credentials they got, and then they're stuck with this student loan debt. Okay, so that's what they've been doing so far. Last I heard, it was I think last month. So last I've heard, there's been $3 billion in student loan debt that's been discharged so far by the Biden administration. A lot of that has to do with victims of predatory colleges. Under the Biden administration, under the Obama administration, the Educational Department of Education cracked down on predatory colleges. The Obama administration shut down ITT Tech and I think it was Corinthian College. They shut down those two colleges, because I remember ITT Tech used to advertise. If you live here in Detroit, we used to see commercials of ITT Tech advertised on TV, and they used to advertise during the daytime, during shows that are reruns and things like this. Then all of a sudden, you stop seeing those commercials. The Obama administration shut them down, and they put more restrictions on for-profit colleges. Okay. Under the Trump administration under Betsy DeVos, Secretary of Miseducation, they relaxed those restrictions on for-profit colleges. And the Trump administration was much more friendlier towards for-profit colleges than the Obama administration and the Biden administration. Okay, let's go back to this here. So the push continues to get more student loan debt discharged, either through executive order or through Congress. Read this piece here from thegrio.com from August 14th. Black graduates' household incomes have grown more slowly than those of college graduates. Okay, so read this piece here. All right, now yesterday we talked about there was an article from the Washington Post that dealt with Reverend Raphael Warnock, and this dealt with a Proud Boy supporter who pled guilty to threatening Reverend Raphael Warnock, basically threatening to kill him. And this was on January 5th. This idiot posted on Parler, okay, the social media platform used by a lot of white supremacists and a lot of Trump supporters, things like that. Parler, okay. Let me pull up this article. Proud Boy supporter pleads guilty to threatening Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. And then if we look at the idiot today, got arrested at the U.S. Capitol building, saying that he had a bomb, and this dumbass said that Trump is going to be reinstated. You have these idiots that like don't understand like the Constitution. There's no process to like reinstate a president like that, and they're believing these lies that are being fed to them, these conspiracy theories. You had the story of one guy who bought into the QAnon conspiracy theories and killed his two children because he thought his children were like lizards or something like that. Just nonsense. or he thought they were going to be lizards or something. He bought into this QAnon nonsense and killed his 2 children over this. Proud Boy supporter pleads guilty to threatening Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. Dead men can't pass laws. So this is from August 17th, Washington Post. So it talks about on January 6th, hours before the special Senate runoff in Georgia was called for, Reverend Raphael Warnock in the early hours of January 6th, because you remember the runoff election was January 5th. Okay, and then you had the insurrection January 6th with the Trump supporters. Edward Florea went on the conservative social media platform Parler and wrote, quote, Warnock is going to have a hard time casting votes for communist policies when he's swinging with the fish. Now, what communist policies are you talking about? Because if you ask any of these idiots, explain to me what communism is. Most of them can't tell you. Just like most of them who are complaining and fighting against critical race theory, when you ask them, explain to me what critical race theory is. Most of them can't tell you what critical race theory is. So a lot of these people have been radicalized. A lot of these people have been radicalized by Fox News, by OAN, by Newsmax, and they're just repeating programming. But when you ask them about it, explain to me what communism is, okay? Explain to me what critical race theory is. When you ask them about it, they have no clue what they're talking about. Okay, let me go back to this article here. Where did it go? Just 1 second here. Let me close some of these tabs out. All right, so. Okay, we've got it here. In a later post, Edward Florea wrote in reference to Raphael Warnock, dead men can't pass laws. Now, Edward Florea is facing up to 15 years in prison for making those threats. Now, prosecutors announced Monday the 41-year-old from Queens pleaded guilty to 1 count of transmitting threats to injure and 1 count of possessing ammunition after having been convicted of a felony. Quote, with today's plea, Florea admits to threatening the life of a successful candidate for the U.S. Senate and urging others to take up arms to unleash violence at the Capitol on January 6, 2021 to thwart the results of the presidential election. Okay, we're out of time here on 910 AM Superstation WFDF. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We'll go for a couple more minutes. We'll see you at the 38th Annual African World Festival this weekend. Remember, right now, it's correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. All right, stand by, everybody. How's everybody doing? All right, now if you want to support the African History Network, you can do so through Cash App or PayPal, $ TheAHNShow through Cash App, or through PayPal, paypal.me/TheAHNShow. All right. If you do it through YouTube takes 1/3 of the payment and they only pay out once a month. If you do it through Cash App or PayPal, we get it right away. Okay. Okay, so here, $ TheAHNShow through Cash App. All right, now. Just a second. Let's go back to this story here. So this is from the Washington Post from August 17th. We talked about it briefly on yesterday's show. Hold on. Let me see here. Okay, here we go. All right, let's go back to this. Let's go back to this article here. Okay, so with today's guilty plea, Florea admits to threatening the life of a successful candidate for the U.S. Senate and to urging others to take up arms to unleash violence at the Capitol on January 6th to thwart the results of the presidential election. Jacqueline M. Kasulis, acting U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of New York, said in a news release on Monday. Now, attorney Mia Eisenberg, attorney Mia Eisner Grinberg, who represents Florea, did not respond to a request for comment. Edward Florea's online threats came January 6th after Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, both Democrats in Georgia, narrowly won Senate seats in special runoffs in Georgia. The same day, hordes of President Donald Trump's supporters showed up to the U.S. Capitol as Congress met to certify Joe Biden's electoral win. In addition to making threatening comments about Senator Raphael Warnock on January 6th, Florea had also written on Parler about going to Washington to incite violence. Okay, so read the rest of this. So he's in deep trouble. He's facing up to 15 years in prison. Proud Boys supporter pleads guilty to threatening Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock. Dead men can't pass laws. All right, so check that out also. Okay, you can register for the 10-week online course that I teach on Saturdays. This is the new class, From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Each class we deal with an approximately 10-year period of history. And we deal with history. We deal with the last year of the Civil War and what happened after slavery ended. Okay, we did the Reconstruction Era, 1865 to 1968. 1865 to 1877. Then we deal with the Jim Crow era, World War I, World War II, Civil Rights Movement, Black Power Movement. Okay, to understand what happened after slavery ended. What were the laws and policies that were put in place? How did that impact us? And how do we get to where we are today, and where do we go from here? All right, so that's we just posted the link. You can register for that class. So we do the class live. All the sessions are recorded. As soon as you register for the class, you can watch last Saturday's class, and you can watch classes 1 through 4. Next class will be on August 28th. And there's also bonus content that you can watch there as well. And you still have access to the class even after the class is over with. All right. So we do the classes live. It's Saturdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And all the sessions are recorded, so you can go back and watch it over and over again also. All right. So the class is regularly $130, on sale $80. You can watch from around the world. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. It's at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And then the other online course that I teach, that's the precursor to this one, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We do this one on Sundays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And this deals with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And we do that one live, and all the sessions are recorded also. All right. I posted a couple stories today dealing with Steve Hood passing. There's one from Deadline Detroit. And there's one from Fox 2 News also. He passed away today from pancreatic cancer. He was 58 years old. He used to be a talk show host here on 910 AM Superstation. Actually, when 910 started, he was doing mornings on 910 AM. And I started on his show on Thursday mornings in, I think it was basically January 2016. I started doing Thursday mornings for an hour. Then we went to an hour and a half. Then we went to 2 hours on his show. And then when I got my show on 9:10 a.m. in April of 2016, I kept doing his show as well. Okay, so there's a piece here from Fox 2 Detroit. Detroit talk show host, political consultant Steve Hood dies at 58 after battling pancreatic cancer. So this is a big loss. He was a political consultant, talk show host, TV talk show host, radio talk show host. I knew he was, he had been in the hospital for, I think he was in the hospital for about 3 weeks that I knew of. And he really didn't want people to know that he was sick. So this is a big loss here. So check out this article. You'll hear more about this as well. Deadline Detroit has an article as well about Steve Hood passing also. All right. So look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.
Gain knowledge in minutes from insightful summaries of progressive and socially conscious books. Blacklisted gives you access to curated content that'll satisfy your curiosity to learn and understand different perspectives. Empower yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. It's easy to read or listen to on the go. Blacklisted. Empower yourself. Start your free trial today.
Black on Purpose Television Network. Yes, Black on Purpose Television Network. All black, all positive, all the time. The largest black-owned streaming television network in the world. Bringing our people together worldwide. Controlling our messages, our story, our way. Black TV the way it should be. Black music, Black history, and more. 30 plus channels, thousands of shows. Black on Purpose Television Network. Subscribe now. Black on Purpose Television Network. Yes, Black on Purpose Television Network. All black, all positive, all the time. The largest black-owned streaming television network in the world. Bringing our people together worldwide. Controlling our messages, our story, our way. Black TV the way it should be. Black music, Black history, and more. 30 plus channels, thousands of shows. Black on Purpose Television Network. Subscribe now.
Hi, I'm Joel Wilson, President and CEO of JCW Computer Consulting, LLC, a technology implementation firm with over 20 years of satisfying customers. We offer a full spectrum of industry top-tier branded services. We are an authorized partner or reseller for Lenovo, Zoom, T-Mobile, Microsoft 365 and Surface tablets, Google Workspace, Acer, Asus, Samsung, PCmatic security software, and many more. Our online store features laptops, Chromebooks, computers, printers, accessories, and software. Businesses, take advantage of our free 1-hour Zoom tech consultation and know we offer top nationwide high-speed internet service providers, voice over IP, and cellular phone services. Home users, don't miss our current in-stock Chromebook inventory. Please visit us at jcwcc.com or call 215-879-6600.